Optimum Nutrition, the maker of 100% Gold Standard Whey, and the Pro Series. Pro Gainer, Pro BCAA, Pro Complex. Now introduces Pro Pre, a clean pre-workout formula made to maximize your training performance. Pro Pre, available only at Bodybuilding.com.
Look in the mirror. This is about you. There's a reason why that voice in your head keeps repeating itself. Confront that voice. What do you want? Don't cheat yourself out of another day. It's time to leave life's bullshit at the door and better yourself. 30 minutes a day for the next 30 days. If you really want it, I'm here to back you up. What's your reason? Only on Bodybuilding.com, all access.
Pop it.
What's up, guys? I'm Kyler Jackson, the 2018 Bodybuilding.com male spokesmodel, and today I'm actually here to show you guys a live leg workout. Really excited to show you that. We're going to go through some front squats, some leg extensions, dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts, and some leg press. But I'm actually here in Boise, Idaho to film for the Build Your Body campaign for Bodybuilding.com, and yesterday we were doing photo shoots and video shoots all day, and it's just a great time. I'm a Southern California boy, so I did not prepare properly and I wore shorts all day in 30-degree weather, but you know what? I learned my lesson. So anyways, I think we'll get right into it and I'll warm up on front squats. I'm just gonna start with the bar to get my range of motion down. My right quad is a little tight right now, so just want to make sure I properly warm up and stretch that out. So as always with these, be sure to submit questions or just anything you want to ask me below, and I'll be sure to answer in between sets and just, yeah, throw them at me.
All right, YouTube wants to know, is it okay to do heavy deadlift twice a week?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say any of the heavy compound movements, if you're a power lifter, they do them every other day sometimes, they'll do them every day sometimes, just depends on your body. Read your body, like feel your joints out, feel how you're responding to things. Just, it's different things are best for different people, so.
All right, and what do you take as a supplement before your workout?
Right now, the Signature Series pre-workout, actually, which I love. You guys have to try it.
Any supplements that you couldn't live without?
That I couldn't live without? Probably pump formula. Some sort of pump ingredient, some agmatine sulfate or citrulline or anything that just helps increase that blood flow during a workout. So I'm gonna load up some plates and do one more warm-up set.
Maddie from YouTube wants to know, have you ever used knee sleeves for your leg day training? If so, would you have any specific brands that you would recommend or any advice for sizing?
Ooh, sizing's tough, but yes, I do use knee sleeves on leg days. Sorry, I'm out of breath. Oh gosh. So I do use knee sleeves. I use Iron Rebel knee sleeves right now. And for me personally, I just like them to fit like really, really tightly and snugly. Just the more warmth I feel in my knee joint when they're on, the better. So like they would size me up as probably an XL, but I wear a large just because I like the tightness and the compression from it.
YouTube also wants to know, can you please tell us about rep ranges for legs?
Yeah, ideally you want to be in like the 12 to 15 rep range for legs. And I know that sounds weird, like sounds a little bit higher rep, but it's really like the heaviest weight you can possibly use for that 12 to 15 reps. A lot of people will just go and hit that rep range and then stop, even if they can keep going. But no, you really want to like push the weight for 12 to 15 and be failing in that range. But that's just the most proven range for growth and hypertrophy of legs. So
do you perform warm-up sets for every exercise or only for the first one?
Generally just the first one. Heavy stuff, specifically compound lifts, anything where you're more at risk for injury. But yeah, not everything.
And then Matthew wants to know, do you get abs from heavy squats?
Yeah, actually. Heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, front squats, they all work your core because you're stabilizing. Anything where you really have to stabilize heavy weight is really going to build everything around your entire core, even the lower back. So definitely helps develop the abs and the obliques and all that. So just so you guys know, I wear Converse All-Stars for my leg days, and that's just because I like to use a flat sole. Lifting shoes I personally don't like. I just don't really get the proper movement, or I feel unstable with like the elevated heels and things like that. But Converse All-Stars have always been my go-to. So I'm gonna load this up with a little more. I gotta be careful though, because leg days, I like to train really hard and I won't be able to talk to you guys. All right, so now like I mentioned that rep range earlier, I'm gonna actually aim for 3 working sets of 12 right here. So bear with me as I try to catch my breath in between. Whew. Also with front squats, when you mount it on your shoulder like that, you sometimes cut off your breathing. You kind of cut off your throat a little bit. So it makes it even harder, but hey, this is all funny, like this is all fun, right?
All right, Gregory from Facebook wants to know, on the squat rack, sometimes the elbow and forearm on my right arm feels a bit tight and sometimes sore from doing squats. Anything to help with this? Maybe better positioning, question mark?
Interesting. I'd say that depends on your grip positioning, but it sounds like it's more of a mobility and flexibility thing. You may want to actually work on, like, use bands and different stretches just to improve the mobility and flexibility of your elbow and forearm. You may have some tightness and other kind of complications going on in there.
Amber from Facebook is curious, what do you eat before and after your workout?
It depends on the workout, actually. For something that I know I'm gonna go really heavy on, I'm gonna probably consume like in the 50 to 80 grams of carbs range, just to really fuel the workout and give me more energy. But if it's gonna be something where it's all just like isolated movements, nothing too heavy, then I actually won't consume very many carbs, just kind of letting my body use the stored glycogen as fuel. And then post-workout, again, depending on whether it's a heavy or non-heavy, I'll consume more carbs post-workout for recovery on the heavy days than on isolated, slower days.
Can you squat without shoes?
Absolutely. A lot of times I do. Since I switched to the All-Stars, I've been good, but before, when I would wear like Nikes or other things on leg days, I would always take them off.
Facebook wants to know, Kyler, I see people doing squats on the Smith machine. I heard that isn't a good thing to do. What do you think?
I don't do them. I think it's a great way to kind of work your way into squatting and just kind of have a controlled plane of movement. But personally, it messes with my lower back, kind of compresses things, staying in that plane because it's not necessarily your natural range of movement. And when I'm squatting, generally I'm coming down and I'm going through my heels, but you can see like my back kind of coming down a little bit as I go down, and that's just the more natural range rather than a Smith machine, which is going to keep you in that same plane all the way down. It also has caused some like tightness and things in my the heads of my quads and my knees.
Awesome. Brittany commented on your chucks. She said, love the chucks. That's what I wear on leg day too.
Heck yeah.
And Ryan wants to know how much protein is in your daily diet.
Currently 275 grams a day. Just depends on where my diet's at the point or at that moment.
And then can you talk about rest time in between your sets in this workout?
For this workout specifically, I'd say like 1.5 to 2 minutes in between, especially with the starting like front squats. And then when we get to the leg press, you're gonna wanna take longer rest times just with those heavier movements. But I'm gonna be entirely honest with you, most workouts, I just kind of go with the flow and go with how my body feels. And that's just sort of what's always worked best for me, is just reading my body. So, all right, let's do another one. Whew. Whew. That feels fantastic.
All right, Cody from Facebook says, are front squats absolutely necessary or are back squats sufficient?
It depends. So I personally, I like to use both. I like to use variations with my squats just to kind of change it up and I guess confuse the muscle a little bit. Back squats also strain my lower back a little bit more. And front squats keep everything very tight and very strict form and allow me to go really, really deep. And I feel lighter weight working just as efficiently as heavier weight on back squat.
How low should I go on my squat?
Past 90 degrees. So when you go down, you'd want to pass like about here, if you can. Some people don't have that range of movement or motion. And again, be wary, like pay attention to your body and your lower back, because the lower you go, you might start kind of curving your tailbone under, and that's what you don't want. That's where injury is going to happen to your lower vertebrae.
Matt wants to know, do you have any tips for someone with bad shoulders while doing front squats? I find it harder to balance the bar.
That's a tough one. Front squats do put so much strain on your shoulder to begin with. And for me, I'm just lucky because I've always had good shoulder mobility, never really had any problems with that. But I would probably recommend that you avoid it or you just work on that mobility over time. So again, use bands and different stretches to improve the functional mobility of your shoulder joints.
YouTube wants to know, what's the best time to train legs, in the morning or the afternoon?
I'd say it depends on how your diet is at the time. If you're like carb depleted, you're gonna probably wanna go first thing in the morning because it's not really gonna make a huge difference, I guess. But if you're like bulking and you're trying to lift as heavy as possible on these leg days, I would probably wait until the afternoon so you're a little bit more carbed up and fueled up and things like that. But the only reason you go first thing in the morning when you're depleted is because you'll use that last bit of stored glycogen from the night before. So, yeah.
And then to increase size, how often should we do leg training in a week?
If you're really trying to grow, twice a week. There was a long period of time. I've trained for a total of almost 10 years now. And there was a very long period of time, like 2 years, where I was doing legs twice a day just to improve that growth and really build some size.
All right, YouTube, a guy named iFluxBreezy said,
Okay.
Is this even live?
Yes, it is.
Do you use any BCAAs?
Absolutely. I use BCAAs before I do cardio in the morning, and that's just to prevent muscle breakdown during that cardio. And then I use BCAAs before my actual workout for the day and sip them throughout when possible.
And then Kimberly from Facebook said, how many times a week do you suggest one should work out?
It all depends on you. It depends on your goals, depends on your schedule, all that sort of stuff. For someone like me who's actually like trying to compete in bodybuilding and trying to, like, this is my career basically, I go 6 days a week. For most people, I'd recommend maybe 4 days a week as a good base.
And then what is your nutrition like?
I track macros, so I use like MyFitnessPal, and generally I try to stay clean, so I call it like clean flexible dieting or clean macro tracking. And usually I'll utilize like a meal prep service, and they'll deliver my meals to the door, and then I just track the meals throughout the day. And at the end of the day, whatever I have left as far as grams of protein, carbs, and fats, and overall calories, I'll fill that in with things like protein shakes, egg whites, rice, oatmeal, coconut oil, all that sort of stuff, just to kind of finish it off accurately.
All right, and one more before you get into your next set.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for beginners?
Tips for beginners. Find what works for you. I think that's the most crucial. Like, I fell in love with weightlifting right away. It was very, like, that was just instantaneous for me, but that's not the case for most people. Like, some people like CrossFit better. Some people like to go play sports. Some people like to power lift. Like, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat, be sure, thank you, be sure to just find what works for you, find what you fall in love with, and that's what you're gonna stick to, and that's what you're gonna improve on and make progress in. So whatever it is, just get that heart pumping and keep that cardiovascular level improving so you can have longevity in life, right? Sorry, just a little thirsty. All right, let's get into this. This is the last set of front squats. 12 more reps. My quads are definitely tight. Okay.
All right, this might be the best question yet.
Yes.
From Twitch, do you consider yourself the all-American badass?
You can consider me that. I'll take that as a massive compliment. Thank you.
And then Peyton from YouTube says, "Hi Kyler, it was so nice meeting you at the expo."
Hey, it was nice meeting you too, Peyton.
Do you ever elevate your heels on a squat?
Not really. I know it's effective. I know people love doing that. That's kind of the purpose for those squat shoes I was talking about earlier, but not personally.
And then a question from Twitch. I'm on keto. Will I build any muscle doing weights?
I actually don't know. That I don't know the science behind. Sorry, I wish I did.
Can you give some good calf exercises?
Oh yeah. I just filmed a calf workout video the other day. That'll be up next week. Let's see. So my favorites are actually standing barbell calf raises because the stability and the balance needed really I've just noticed anything focusing on the stability and balance helps you grow the most in your calves. I also love seated calf raises. And then on a leg press or a calf extension machine, you just do those just calf extensions with your legs straight. So.
All right, YouTube wants to know, which is better for hamstring, stiff leg deadlift or lying leg curl?
I'd say both. Do them both. Today we're gonna do stiff-legged deads with dumbbells. It's actually not this next movement, but the one after that. But normally on a full leg day, I would do both.
And then Gregory from Facebook asks, after a heavy squat day, how do you deal with post-workout soreness?
Oh gosh, you just kind of do. I drink protein shakes, I take potassium and other electrolyte supplements, BCAAs, all those things will help a lot. I get severe cramps. Stace has had to help me in the middle of the night and massage my calves or just bring me water or a banana or something just to help with those cramps, but you just kind of have to deal with it. It's just part of heavy leg training.
And then Micah wants to know, do you prefer low or high bar squats and why?
I've just always done high bar. I've never really focused on that low bar because of that shoulder strain we were talking about earlier. It really bringing my hands down like that just makes it way tougher. So I'm gonna get into these. Actually, I'm gonna get into some leg extensions real quick and then I'll answer some more questions in a second. Whew.
All right, Lisa from YouTube wants to know, how do you take care of stability problems with squatting? My left heel always comes up.
Really? I would say honestly that's probably a spinal thing. That's probably some misalignment or just over time through consistently training and working on that balance, that will improve. I always try and just drive through those heels. But actually, that's a good point I just thought of is those elevated, when you elevate the heels on those squats that I said I never really do. If you actually do that, you're gonna train yourself to always be pushing through your heels.
Daddy Manny 330
Yes.
from Twitch is curious, is creatine monohydrate worth taking, and do I take it before or after workouts for maximum growth?
So creatine, it's absolutely worth taking. Basically a huge misconception is that you're gonna get all bloated and watery and you're gonna be holding water all the time using creatine, but the truth is what creatine's doing is it's pulling more water into the actual cell and into the actual muscle to utilize for energy. And it's actually gonna fill it up and kind of give you more of that full muscle appearance. And it's gonna give you more energy and strength. So that's why it's used as a growth and strength supplement. And so it's definitely worth trying out. The form of creatine you use, there's so many different opinions out there. I've always just, I've used every different form and they all work the same way for me. So it always just helps me get stronger and bigger. So definitely worth using. I take it pre-workout generally.
Jamie from Facebook says, "Hi Kyler, thanks for your live stream. What is your recommendation for splitting your weekly strength workouts? Do you think that there is much benefit to doing a 4 or 5 day split as compared to a 3 day split?"
I think there is personally. So every day I am focusing and isolating one muscle group at a time, or like one major muscle group and one smaller one, like a chest and tri day, something like that. I think there's a huge benefit to it because you're focusing solely on that muscle or muscle group. If you're doing a 3 day split, you're most likely not gonna be hitting individual muscles as efficiently. And for someone like me, I need to be able to focus on growing certain, say my lower lats specifically. If I'm only training 3 times a week, how am I really going to maintain that full upper portion and grow the lower? You really need to be able to focus on the individual ones. But it's all personal preference and what works best for you.
Amber wants to know, when starting macro counting, what would be your advice to a beginner who can't seem to dial it in?
That can be tough. I would say, I think a common mistake is always pre-making full meals and setting those aside in Tupperwares. If you make the individual things, like say you cook up a big batch of a couple pounds of lean ground turkey, and then you have a full Tupperware of rice and then some vegetables and things like that, you'll be able to more precisely and accurately weigh out every individual meal and hit those macros exactly on point. I'd say that's the best way to focus and start. And then over time, you're gonna get so used to the portions that you're looking at and you'll be able to eyeball it better to reach a point where you can actually go eat out at restaurants and intuitively track like that.
Karen from YouTube wants to know, is it okay to do HIIT on the treadmill after a leg workout?
Is it okay? Absolutely. Do I recommend it? No. It's gonna be rough. But I mean, you're gonna make some crazy progress, that's for sure.
Melker from YouTube says, what do you usually do on your rest days and how many times in the week do you rest and work out?
So like I said, I train 6 days a week generally. And I take one rest day, which is my Sunday refeed rest. I generally don't even focus on work or anything. Stace and I may go fill some orders for our clothing company, but other than that, it's just hanging out, relaxing, eating all the good food, and maybe watching some Netflix or movies or things like that, going on dates, all the good stuff.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Metal and hardcore music, trap music, lots of hip hop stuff, really everything. I just like music in general, but mostly I listen to a lot of metal.
Awesome. Twitch wants to know tips for burning stomach fat, please. I am eating good and training good, but I can't reduce it.
I'd say as long as you dial that diet and training in, you just got to be consistent for a very, very long time. I cut down from 260 to about 200 pounds for my first legitimate cut in my life, and it took me 2 years. So it's just a very, very long time of being consistent every day and making sure you're always sticking to the plan and the regimen and all that. I'm gonna do one more set of leg extensions real quick. So these we're aiming for 3 sets of 15. I kind of just let my feet dangle. You'll see some people pull their feet up like that. I just let them dangle because it really targets the head of the quads, the teardrop.
All right. What are your thoughts on total body workouts versus isolated body part workouts for muscle growth?
So that kind of goes back to that previous question about whether 3 days or isolating 4 or 5 days is better. I think that everyone, like, things work differently and work better for different people. And so it's like a lot of people who do CrossFit, like a lot of them will swear by full body workouts. Like, that's what works best for them. For me, again, the isolation stuff works better. So I don't think there really is necessarily a better or worse. It's just better for you.
Is it okay to eat in late hours at night before sleep?
Yes and no. I do. I still will eat right up to bed because I'm trying to fit those macros. It kind of depends on your hormone levels. So there's a lot of stuff that happens hormonally when you eat carbohydrates right before bed. And that affects your growth hormone levels and leptin levels and ghrelin levels and all those things that I won't go into detail with. But there is a commonly referred to aspect of storing more fat when you eat carbs close to bed. For me personally, I've never noticed any of that. So I think it just depends.
All right. Jason from YouTube wants to know, what is your cheat meal?
What is my cheat meal? My favorite cheat meal would be blueberry pancakes from Stacks.
Matthew wants to know, who's your favorite band?
Favorite band, Under Oath, 100% since 8th grade. I used to sleep to them and they're screaming, so that's interesting.
How many meals do you have in a day?
Depends. So when you track macros, your focus is hitting those macros, hitting the calorie counts, things like that. I'll generally eat like 4 times a day, but if I have to have a 5th meal just to squeeze in the last bit, or if I only had time for 3 meals, then it's just whatever hits those macros properly.
And then Jesse from Facebook wants to know, what are your thoughts on carb cycling?
I do it. I always do it. I never stop. In prep, off season, I'm always carb cycling, just because for me personally, it just always helps me stay leaner. It always confuses just my body and my metabolism and keeps things moving properly. Yeah. Okay. One more of these. I was gonna do more leg stuff after this, but this may be all I need.
All right, a few more favorites questions. What is your favorite show to watch?
Favorite show, all-time favorite is Psych. I've seen every episode like 12 times.
And then what's your favorite candy?
Ooh, that's tough. I just like candy. I like it all.
How much do you weigh and how tall are you?
I am about 6 foot, maybe 5'11" to 6 foot in that range. Everywhere you go, they measure you differently. And then I weigh currently about 202.
Awesome. Do you like high volume workouts?
Absolutely, yeah. The more blood pumping into the muscle, the better for me. The more blood, the more you nourish the muscle, the more it grows, all that good stuff.
YouTube wants to know, who's your favorite bodybuilder that motivates you to keep on working out?
Oh gosh. I used to be like a huge fan of bodybuilding itself, like Mr. Olympia, super heavyweight bodybuilders, Kai Green, Phil Heath, all of them. Now everything has shifted, and since I compete in classic physique, I really like Chris Bumstead. I think that he kind of has like the ideal physique that I want to attain one day.
Mike wants to know, how do you get those inner quads?
The inner quads, the teardrop, that would be those actually, what we were just doing, the leg extensions. When you get to the top, try and squeeze for like 1 to 2 seconds ideally. I'm kind of rushing through things right now, but get that nice squeeze in there, do some volume work, and you'll really grow the teardrop and just the head of the quads.
Twitch wants to know, is Kyler prepping for a show? He is currently tracking his macros and using a meal prep service, so just wondering.
I do those things year round. Generally, it's just because this is all kind of, well, it is my life. It's my career, it's all that. But I am prepping for a show. I am most likely going to be competing on February 3rd if all goes as planned.
Arthur wants to know, do you recommend a cardio warming up for strength training?
Yeah, so let's actually talk about that real quick. Just warm-ups in general. I always warm up on the treadmill. I'll walk like incline treadmill for 5 to 10 minutes. Wherever I feel warm, if I start breaking a little bit of a sweat, that's perfect. And then I actually will get into warm-ups with the actual weights, using bands or dumbbells or just body weight, whatever I can to make sure the joint is warm and flexible and things are moving properly.
Do you still work out when you're sick?
I'm recovering right now. I do. Generally, if I'm sick enough and I feel like I'm gonna get anyone else sick, I try not to. I really just don't like doing that. I don't like being that person. But as far as whether it's like okay for you or not, depends on how you feel. If you're feeling really run down, if you're feeling like feverish, if you're feeling nauseous, anything like that, definitely avoid it. Give your body time, let it recover. Those are signs that you're not okay and your body needs to just rest, sleep as much as you can, drink a ton of water, you'll be good.
All right, Patrick's giving a shout out to our film crew. What camera or whatever camera they're using for filming this live feed is awesome, very good quality.
They're pretty incredible. Hey, thanks guys.
All right, Twitch wants to know tips for dealing with DOMs.
With DOMs, oh gosh, that would go back to tons of electrolytes, tons of aminos, drink as much water as you possibly can. That is, oh my gosh, that's just been a massive problem for me over the years, just reminiscing. Yeah, just hydrate as much as possible and then fuel with protein, carbs. Like if you're nutritionally fueling yourself properly, you won't get that muscle soreness or the cramping nearly as much. So, all right, let's go on to some dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts, 3 sets of 12 to 15.
Judy says that you're motivating her to get to the gym today.
Hey, super glad.
Facebook wants to know, does stretching decrease gains?
Decrease gains. I'd say no. I don't stretch before, like, say I'm gonna go try and PR for bench or PR on squats. I'm not really gonna stretch much. I'm gonna warm up that muscle properly, but I'm not gonna stretch it out because I want things to be tight. I want them to be really like holding firmly and have that proper balance and stability. If I overstretch, I'm gonna be much more unstable, at least personally.
What types of cardio do you prefer?
I generally do lifts most of the time. I'll do like incline treadmill, stair mill, stationary bike. I'll go hiking, I'll go walking trails, things like that. I like varying like my elevation and incline levels on things. That's why hiking or trail walks are my like favorite. But as far as HIIT stuff goes, I do like to do sprints. I'll like to go to like a field and just do like quick like 100-meter sprints, but that's pretty much all I do as far as HIIT.
What opinion do you have about CrossFit?
I think it's great for people who enjoy it, and that's the thing that they love. My brother-in-law does it, tons of my family does it, tons of friends do it, so it's whatever works best for individual people.
Do you eat protein bars?
I do, yeah, tons of them. Generally Quest bars or One bars. Right now I really like that birthday cake Quest bar.
Twitch says Kyler looks pretty strong.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Twitch says, this is cool. I feel like I'm actually working out with someone instead of working out alone.
Hey, come work out with me sometime.
What's your favorite ab workout?
Favorite ab workout? Hanging leg raises. I'll just hang there and raise my toes up, and hits that lower portion of the abs. And then I also like those crunch machines that kind of include everything. So it's like you have pads across your ankles that are hooked in. So you're like lifting, doing a leg raise while pulling the bar down from the top. And it's just everything all the way through. So, okay, let's go on to one more set of these. Two more sets, sorry. So for these stiff-legged deads, I did just want to point out, you want to keep your knees slightly bent. You don't want them entirely straight. And then your main focus is going to be on pushing your butt out this way to really hit that upper hamstring and the glutes. And then when you get to the top, squeeze the glutes. What? Looks like I'm pelvic thrusting right now, so I apologize.
All right, Jason from YouTube wants to know, how much do you deadlift?
I actually don't really deadlift heavy very often. I do it more of kind of a just full body, like repped out movement, do like 20 reps or so. But the most I've ever deadlifted is, I think it was like 455. Nothing crazy. My deadlift's never been my strong suit.
Jack wants to know, I want to start training my legs. How should I start? No weights, light weights,
How should you start? I'd say start with light weights, start incorporating weights. Try and do things like the movements I'm showing you right now with lighter weights. There are plenty of squat variations you can do with dumbbells or with body weight, things like that. Just don't go too heavy and strain yourself to begin with.
Why should you do cardio?
Heart health. Absolutely. Number one thing is heart health. Number two is respiratory health in your lungs. Right now I'm struggling, but you know, it's okay. And then obviously if it's specifically for physique goals, it's to help you cut fat.
Emma wants to know, how much do you sleep?
How much do I sleep? Depends on my workload at the time. I try to get at least 5 or 6 hours a night. Just depends on how stressed I am about work, about DeadFit, our clothing company, about just life. I've just had insomnia stuff lately, but normally I'll aim for at least 5 or 6 hours. I recommend trying to get 8.
Real Larry from Twitch says, how many years have you been training?
Almost 10 years.
Another Twitch comment, I didn't know about Kyler till now. Definitely seems to be a nice guy. Respect to him.
Hey, thank you.
Alberto says, my My hand wrist is injured.
Okay.
What can I do to strengthen my upper body?
Oh, with your wrist being injured, what can you do? That's tough. I know there are different like straps or machines that you can use that allow you to pull through your elbows on things. You can like strap things to your forearms or around the elbow, and you can still like work your lats with stuff like that. But I mean, your wrist is pretty much included in most upper body work, so you just got to be really careful of it. Maybe just rest and let it recover first.
Patrick from Facebook said, I hear BCAA and amino acids a lot. Is there a difference or not?
Amino acid refers to a very broad category of, what would that be? Nutrients, I guess. They're a nutrient. But there's tons of different types of amino acids that form different compounds in different chains. So like a BCAA is a branched chain amino acid, and it's specifically 3 major types of those amino acids that have been determined or studied as the most anabolic or effective for muscle growth and recovery.
How many hours do you work out at the gym daily?
Depends on the day. If I'm needing some mental time in therapy, maybe 3 hours, but that's definitely not normal. Normally about an hour, hour and a half. Let's go on to the last set of these stiff leg deads. Sorry, I had to adjust my stance a little bit wider and point my heels out slightly. There we go. If you guys have any questions about the movements I'm actually doing as I'm going through them, just let me know. I'm here to teach you.
Right. Do I have to buy supplements made for women for it to be effective, or can I buy any brand of supplements?
Any brand of supplements. You do not need to buy female-specific ones. The main difference and the main thing they'll try to do is they'll avoid anything that affects your hormone levels for females in those female lines. But generally, if you're avoiding like a testosterone booster, you're safe. So definitely, you can use any line.
Jesse wants to know, Kyler, why dumbbell stiff legs over barbell?
I do both. I also do like this cable stiff leg deadlift variation. But just today I was feeling the dumbbells. I like that free flowing movement. So like when you hold it on the sides like this, and then you go down and your hands rotate, it's just a very natural movement as opposed to the bar where it's fixed in the same spot the whole time. And yeah, so I was just feeling that today.
Can you do any silly party tricks?
Silly party tricks. Not exactly sure what that means. Anyone? Any ideas?
I think it would be like anything, like I can lick my elbow, I can sing with my mouth closed.
I can lick the tip of my nose, but
Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to do that right now. Maybe next time.
Does this exercise work out your hamstrings?
Yes, 100%. That's the main focus. And then if you squeeze properly at the top, you're going to be working your glutes as well.
All right, one more before we move into your last movement.
Alrighty.
If someone works out early in the morning, is it important to have breakfast before the workout?
Personal preference, most effective is going to be yes. You're going to fuel your workout properly with the protein, the carbohydrates, and all that. But if you have tried fasted training, and you enjoy fasted training, I personally enjoy it sometimes, just throwing it in there every once in a while, then you don't have to. But for effectiveness and efficiency, definitely eat breakfast. So we're gonna do something a little different here and go over to the leg press, which is kind of off the normal set. but we're gonna go over there and transition, all right? I'm gonna bring the water, sorry. All right, so a lot of you guys know leg pressing is basically my favorite movement, leg pressing and squatting. So I definitely wanted to throw these in here, which is why we had to walk around to the outside of the little set area. But here we're gonna actually do 5 sets total. The first one's gonna be a warm up for me to really I guess adjust the weight and figure out what the best working weight is gonna be. And we're gonna aim for about 12 reps per set. So I generally go high and wide on my foot placement, and that's to target hamstrings and glutes, but it's also gonna still hit the quads effectively with enough weight. This is usually the thing that leads to me cramping the most at night. So high and wide, and then another tip is a lot of people will injure their spine doing heavy leg press because they're gonna be keeping their butt all the way down on this bottom pad here. And so what I do is I kind of scoot up an inch or two off the pad to make sure that my lower back is fully pressed down against the back pad and you're not curling your tailbone under like that.
All right, I recently started doing 2-a-days. One question I can't seem to get answered is, should I hit muscle groups twice or for my second workout, should I focus on a different set of muscles?
In the same day, I'm assuming? Definitely different. I wouldn't go like legs in the morning, legs at night. You're not gonna get an efficient second workout in. I used to do 2-a-days for football in high school, and it was always different stuff morning and night. And it's almost like if you had a normal 6-day split or a normal 5-day split, kind of just treat it like you're going through your normal split. So instead of Monday legs, Tuesday chest, you would do morning Monday legs, nighttime Monday chest, and continue through your program like that.
Is that gym ever open to the public? It looks like heaven.
No, sorry. I didn't know, so I had to look over.
All right, best.
It is heaven though, just so you know, it really is.
All right, best training split for building muscle in your opinion?
For building muscle, I'd say a 5-day split. And then maybe if you're up for it, if your body can handle it, on that 6th day, do your most lacking body part a second time to just really improve it. So that's my personal favorite.
How do you fix muscle imbalances in your legs?
Oh gosh, that is a long-term process, but comes with a lot of training, a lot of isolating of what's needed, a lot of single leg movements, a lot of band work and kind of physical therapy type stuff to really improve the imbalances throughout your whole body. Because a lot of times, like, an imbalance just in your right leg isn't just because you've overworked one leg over the other. It's something else along the line, and it's a chain reaction over a long period of time.
All right. Thoughts on guys doing kickbacks in a public gym that is crowded, asking for a friend?
Be a man. Yeah, be a man. Just do it. You're gonna hit those glutes like no other. In fact, I kind of want to do like a bikini booty workout. I just think it would be super entertaining, and my glutes would get really sore. So.
Comment from Facebook, I really feel motivated and I have seen some new leg workouts, was thinking how to start tomorrow.
Okay. I would just say do your research and look at the different stuff that has motivated you. If it was other people's content, maybe find someone you look up to and take one of their workouts, or go like Bodybuilding.com has their all access program, which is an incredible program, and you can find legitimately the best workouts on there, and it's just anything you need. Good. Let's go on to the next set. Just gonna go up one more plate. This leg press is shockingly heavy compared to what I'm used to. The angle on the ones at my home gym is like a way lower angle, so it makes you feel super strong. Not this one. So again, high and wide. I am running short on time, so I may have to cut the sets short, but we'll see what we can squeeze in here.
All right, how important is L-glutamine if you are working out 6 days a week?
Oh, so crucial. You have no idea. Glutamine makes up about I think the current statistic is 60% of the aminos in your actual muscle makeup. When you go train, you deplete most of that. So take that glutamine, replenish that glutamine. It'll help you recover like no other.
All right, how far, oh, I just lost it. Ray wants to know, how far down should you go before bringing the weight back up after each rep?
On leg press?
Yeah.
I'd say again, try and pass that perpendicular angle. So if this is your shin and this is your thigh, pass that 90-degree angle. If you can, I try and bring my knees as close to my chest as possible. But it depends on how stiff I am that day, how flexible I'm feeling, stuff like that.
All right, and do you have any tips for beginners on leg press?
Yeah, find the comfortable position for you. Find the proper foot placement that works best for you, just because I'm telling you to go high and wide, my exact foot placement at my height is gonna be different than the ideal one for you at your height. So just find what's comfortable and what's not causing any hip impingements or anything like that, causing any discomfort. All right. Yeah, do we know how much time we have left? We're good? Okay. drop that weight down for the last set. Didn't hit my 12 rep point. I'm waddling like a penguin.
All right, I'm a swimmer. Should I implement weight training to get more lean muscle?
Absolutely. I would say that's pretty important, but as a swimmer, your metabolism's so high and you have to consume so many calories to begin with that in order to train properly, to weight train and incorporate that, you may need to eat even more to fuel it properly and all that, but it's never a bad idea to incorporate weightlifting.
Jesse from Facebook says, one of these days I want to drive to the Bodybuilding.com headquarters and spend a week working out with these guys.
Hey, it's a dream come true here, honestly.
Lisa from Facebook says, do you ever fit in a long run during the week?
A long run, not necessarily. Long walks, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, I love going on trail hikes. I used to live in an area that had like the most phenomenal trails with the greatest views, and I would just walk right out my back door and go on a couple mile hike, and it was magical.
When you first started working out and maintaining enough protein, did you have problems with getting all of it down? Any tricks? It's been tough for me.
Tricks, protein shakes. When I started out, I used a lot of protein shakes because my appetite was not there. Over time, by fitting all this food in every day, I was able to increase my appetite and get to a point where I can just kind of eat what I need to any day, even in a bulk, it's not a problem. Now when you're cutting, that becomes a problem because you're not eating nearly as much and you're hungry all the time. But I would definitely recommend using protein shakes and protein bars, things that are just higher concentrated amounts of protein in lower volume amounts of food. Alrighty, I think this is my fourth set. Again, we're gonna aim for 12 reps. Didn't quite make it last time, but we dropped the weight down, so hopefully we can get it on this one. My feet were getting a little too high up on there. Wow, this was a great leg workout. I'm loving this.
All right, question from Facebook. What are your thoughts about placing your hands on your quads instead of the handles during a hack squat set? Since it feels easier, but I don't know if I'm doing any damage to my shoulders.
Oh, and a hack squat. I was thinking about that. I don't think you're doing any damage to your shoulders. I will typically, just psychologically, it helps me to be pushing up on the pads when I'm doing a hack squat. Just, you feel like you're helping yourself when you're really not doing any work with your hands there. So I don't think it's a problem. Just always read your body, feel it out. If you feel that discomfort, then there's a problem that needs to be fixed. So
Mike wants to know, how long do you wait to work out after eating?
It just depends on the day. Sometimes I'll just eat in the parking lot and go right in. But generally for most people, I'd say wait at least an hour, let the food digest, let it start metabolizing properly.
Tyler from Facebook says, or wants to know, do you incorporate stretching into or during lifting?
During, depends on the day and the muscle tightness that I'm feeling during that workout. But if things are feeling tight, if things aren't feeling properly functional, then I'll absolutely stretch out and make sure that things are working properly.
All right, last one before we get into this last set.
Okay.
What are your thoughts when you're about to perform an extremely heavy set?
I kind of go into a different place. Honestly, I think about life and I think about very real things. And it's not necessarily like anger or anything like that. It's just I use weightlifting as a very like deep therapeutic experience, and that's why I love it so much. And heavy lifting specifically is that ultimate therapy. It's you kind of just get your mind in that zone and you just give everything you got into that set. So I kind of just get in my head, think about the past, think about life and different experiences, and just go for it. All right, so last set of these leg press, of this leg press. Whew. All right, wow.
All right, one more question. Where can people find you on social media?
That would be everywhere. Primarily Instagram and YouTube. My Instagram is at Kyler Jackson Fitness. My YouTube channel is just search Kyler Jackson or youtube.com/Kyler Jackson. And then I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, but those are my two primaries.
Awesome.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. That was actually an incredible leg workout. I'm gonna do a few more things, but pretty much finished them off. Thanks for asking so many questions because you gave me plenty of rest time, which I needed, as you can tell. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.